Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Crime Centric. This being a show where I talk about crime dramas that I watch. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of The Cleaning Lady. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. Well, first and foremost, I'm going to talk about something. I'm an idiot. I didn't even think about this last episode, like after the whole Armand thing. It didn't even cross my mind. I don't think I brought it up because I don't think it crossed my mind. Like, right, Tony's stuck in Mexico. I didn't even think about that angle to things. And it sucks too because Armand was in and out of consciousness for like a week. I was like, ooh, she was stuck there. Granted, like he needed, Luca needed the time to recover anyway, so it worked out, but, because he couldn't have been suddenly moved like that anyway, but it, it still sucks. And, I think it speaks volumes that while he was drifting in and out of consciousness, Armand was bouncing between Nadia and Tony in his head. Like, she occupies a very important part in his head. Now, whether it's still true, once again, Nadia did like call him out, being like, "Oh, you just like helping her and her son because it makes you feel like a hero." Whatever the case may be, Nadia and Armand are kind of going low key because it's like got rid of their phones and everything because it's like, cool, if we can't. Well, because I was thinking like, oh, Hayek was going to think he's dead for sure. So when he does show up later on, I don't know if that's a look in Hayek's face like, oh, wow, I can't believe you actually showed up here. Do you know that I tried to kill you? Or is it, oh, I actually did think you were dead. I didn't know that you weren't. I would assume Hayek would know that he wasn't dead. I thought he could probably play into that more. But to be fair, it's been a week, so he probably investigated it enough to know that Armand was alive. But Armand coming to him being like, yeah, I think it was so-and-so that hit me. He was like, oh, really? Oh, I can't believe it. It's like, yeah, I made this deal with this guy, Noah. I'm selling the guns for $6 million. He's like, you're going to get $6 million? Yeah, that's what I negotiated. I even love that Armand's talking to Nadia. It's like, oh yeah, the moment I said the $6 million, nothing else mattered. So it's like, yeah, oh, my son, I'm so glad you're alive and you're going to get that money for me too. Oh, I'm glad I didn't kill you then because you set up this deal, because you still think I'm on your side. Oh, thanks, son. Moment he gets those guns, and the money, he's probably going to be like, and thank you for doing this for me, Armand, and probably plans to pop him. Because that's the thing. Who knows how, because later on he gets Carlos's body sent to him, so either that's to cover the tracks to make it seem like, either that was like, I know you actually know I'm the one that killed you. You're asking about Carlos and everything. You're not that good of an actor, so here's Carlos's body. I'm coming for you. Or trying to make it seem like it really was someone else. And it's like, yeah, they must have killed Carlos after they tried to come after you, or before they came after you, or something like that. I'm curious to see how Hayek ends up spinning that, if he bothers spinning it at all. So that's unclear. So it's just a matter of who knows what when. So it does seem like Hayek bought Armand's story, but I don't know if he would play the role then and there just like Armand was, or is it just like, no, he's just playing into the role of like, yeah, I'm still a good guy, and the people who actually tried to kill you killed Carlos, and they sent his body this way just to send a message to get Armand off his back and more pointed towards them, to be like, yeah, they definitely were the ones who did this, like to kind of sell that story even more, fit the narrative that Armand created. Just he might not know, he just doesn't know that Armand created life. Like I said, it's just a saying of like who knows what when and will, because Hayek knows there's probably a good chance, like I don't know, maybe he is delusional enough to think, oh, Armand doesn't know that I tried to kill him. Well, maybe we can go back to pretend like nothing happened. It's like, especially because you're going to be like, oh, he actually was trying to sell my guns for $6 million. Oh, I tried to kill my son for nothing. Maybe that might change things, and maybe he'll be like, nah, we can put this all behind us. I mean, Armand doesn't know I tried to kill him, so it'd be crazy if Hayek did that, but he might be so egotistical that he thinks like, no, everything's gonna be okay. I can technically have Armand back, and it's like, oh, it's fine. He doesn't know I tried to kill him, so it's all good. It's all good. It's all Gucci, so it's fine. We'll see. Once again, Nadia, not too happy about Tony still being kind of involved, but it's like, right, I left her and her son in Mexico. It's like, did Luca get the surgery? He's like, yep, and he's good. She's like, good. So you're done with her, right? He's like, come on. She's like, yeah, we have a second chance here, Armand. If you want there to be an us, you have to cut Tony out of your life completely. So I'm like, at the very least, I'd be like, let me make sure she gets home first, her and her son. At the very least, let me do that. But he doesn't have the money, but he did have things set up ahead of time. It's like, right, you go to a border agent, This person, you're going to get your fake passports, a border agent, that whole situation. I also love that first and foremost, what's his name? Julio, like the doctor, after her going full gangster on him, as the last episode was titled, I'm surprised he was so accommodating me, like, oh yeah, sorry, the money that, that Armand had, like, credit card, it's been declined, so sorry, you can only stay here. Now, do you want me to set up hotel stuff? And she's like, no, I'm good. I'm like, the fact is, he's so accommodating, but it's also like, right, the people you're mixed up with, I don't want to be on their bad side, so I'm trying to have the best bedside manner ever. I think it's what he's trying to do, but still, I wasn't expecting that. Because I think it's like, yeah, just because a card doesn't decline doesn't mean she doesn't have the connection she has, so like, let me not be rude to her. So that's probably why he was probably a little more copacetic in that regard. But when it came to the fake passport thing, the moment they threw out there, like, right, you're going to have to pretend that Dara's his mom and change that on the passports and stuff, just because she is an American citizen, so they won't even look twice at anything else. They had to just make sure they got to Guillermo, the border agent that's on their payroll, before his shift change. And I'm like, which sucks, because obviously Tony was like, no, we're going to get there, like, just in case anything goes wrong. And the moment you're like, oh, the fact is we've prepared for things to go wrong means things will go wrong. And I think that is the suckiest thing. I'm like, Guillermo, you were right there, my dude. Just one more. Just let me get in one more. Because you know you're supposed to be looking out for a Tony. Like, why would you do? Come on, my guy. Come on, just one more. And then that lady's like, yeah, this is fake. You can either get arrested for a fake passport, or you can turn around and walk away. So Tony has no choice but to walk away. So she left everything to Dara. It's like, you're so good with Luca. If it displays anything like bad, like he starts feeling bad, immediately take him to a hospital. But obviously check in with Fee and take him back home and everything. And it's like, that sucks. So she can't call Armand because she knows Armand's in a situation. He's like, right, he doesn't really have the money to help anyway, so there's not much he can do. Plus, he's laying low because Hayek tried to kill him. Then on top of that, she ends up calling Garrett because it's like, right, he's the only card I have left to play. Okay, so we'll get this done. And Garrett's trying to get like the wheels turning, but that's a lot easier said than done, because everything he's done kind of led up to this point has kind of screwed the pooch on multiple fronts. First and foremost, if he hadn't run his damn mouth off, like, he's the reason this situation escalated to what it did. Because if he hadn't run his mouth off to Nadia about all of this, probably wouldn't. I mean, granted, Hayek still would have been under the impression about that lie and stuff, but he escalated things by, like, I don't know. He played his own role in all of this, but his attempt to get Tony back. Truth be told is, now in retrospect, I'm like, yeah, the only thing he did do was tell Nadia, and Nadia, all she did was tell Hayek, like, no, he was in Mexico, with that woman. So that's all. So that is the thing of, like, I don't know. Because Carlos still would have gotten captured, still would have been pumped for information and stuff like that, so that's why I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Well, even not on that front, like, Garrett still is responsible. The reason why they're having a hard time helping Tony out from a legal standpoint, like going through the system and stuff, is because of that ICE raid situation. Because of that whole shenanigans to try and, the one that got their friend Gabby deported away from her children, almost got Fiona deported, put Tony in a very compromising position, trying to get her to be more on his side. Because of that, now they can't help her because of his idiocracy back then. So it's like, yeah, he's still responsible. He made douchebag moves, and it is the reason we're in where we are right now. Not necessarily on the Nadia front, like the current circumstances, like her situation is just other elements at play here. It's just a combination of his part to play in all this, plus other things happening a domino effect. So other than that, it's still like, all right, so trying to get the ball rolling. So he tries to go down to Mexico, no badge, no gun, try to meet up with Tony. And the only other way they can go is, like, Tony is like, well, you'd have to be in the back of the trunk. And she's like, okay, I'll do it. It's like, he suggested that hoping she wouldn't take it, but it's like, of course she's going to take that option. Whatever way's fastest to get back to her son. And I was like, okay, please let this, like, work out. It's like, and I love Garrett. And she's like, so what are you going to do if they catch me back? And he's like, oops, how'd she get in there? I also love the whole, no, sorry if it smells back here. This is where I keep my gym clothes and stuff, so. But like the moment the guy wants the secondary, I was like, please tell me. I was like, no, when would you have had time to take Tony out? You wouldn't have had time to take Tony out of the car. I was like, oh boy. I was hoping like something could have been done, but it's like, nope, she's in the back. Cool, you both get arrested. That's awesome. Oh, this is so beautiful. Oh, this is so wonderful. Tony's like, can I make a call? He's like, Tony, I'm literally in the same cell as you. Like, we're in the same situation. Fingers crossed, my boss or whatever, Catherine, she can handle this, get it all worked out tomorrow. So Tony ended up calling Fiona. She called her beforehand, and then like Marco's wanting answers and stuff. It's like, she's like, I don't want to talk to you, Marco. It's like, shut up. You're the reason why things got complicated. Shut your face. Don't talk to me. I don't want to talk to you right now. It's like, I already told you, Luca and Dara are on their way, but he's probably been like, oh, but where's my son? Blah, blah. It's like, shut up. You've lost all credibility and right to be in this conversation. He went for, man, he continues to be such a douchebag. But it's like, yeah, especially because he's running his mouth off to Fiona last episode. I'm like, shut up. Because it's like, Fiona's like, don't worry, Tony's going, but he's like, no, I deserve answers. Like, Fiona's like, this is my home, be quiet, the kids are... He's like, this isn't a home. Your home is back home. Like, that's where my son and my wife should be with me. The fact is, you should be too. The fact is, you ran away from home. This isn't a home. This is a prison. Like, the fact is, trying to say, like, right... Because she was talking about, like, their dad being a drunk, and it sounds like he was an asshole. But then he's just like, no, like, you're the one that was out running wild. You were barely, like, Yaz's age, and it's just, like, running his mouth. He basically almost... He might as well have... He was basically going, like, yeah, you were, like, whoring it up and around. Like, you're the reason, like, you were such a party animal. Like, dad and them had to, like, be a little rougher and tougher because you were too much of a wild card or something like that. I'm like... And I love that Chris like stood up for his mom. It's like, no, this is our home. You back off. Like because he was like, oh, this is a conversation for adults, and he was like, yeah. And because in that moment, Chris was acting more like an adult than you were, talking down to your sister like that. I get it, you're worried about your son and everything, and he doesn't like being left out of the loop, but it still didn't justify him being such a dick about it. I really like that Chris turned it around. Like, once again, that kid started off as an asshole, but then he turned things around. In fact, he helped his mom this episode by being like, yo, this guy that claimed he's going to help us, he's ripping you off. He's asking for all these fee charges when it's like, that's this particular charge. It's like, that's not even a thing, and he's charging you like, the fact is, to get something done, like this whole DACA thing was supposed to only be like almost like $500, but then there's like another charge he's charging her because it's like, oh, you're someone that's desperate, you don't know the law that well. I mean, that is kind of sad. Like, unless you have a good lawyer, which I'm just saying, someone can make the argument, a good lawyer, that's an oxymoron, isn't it? Someone can make that argument, but it's just kind of like, right, like, unless you have a decent, honest enough lawyer who isn't going to try and stretch you and rip you off for every bit of money you got, like, unless you're well-versed enough in the law yourself, then, like, how do you never really know. That's why Fiona didn't look into it too much, because it's like, right, you're a lawyer, I'm paying you this money, I trust that you're going to do what's best for me, but it's like, no, he took advantage of Fiona, because it's like, right, you're someone in a desperate situation, willing to do and pay whatever, that's a scumbag move. And luckily, Chris and Fiona were there, and embarrassed him in front of other people he was in a meeting with. I'm assuming maybe those are other partners or the lawyers at the firm he's working at, kind of embarrassing him, and it's like, cool, I need a refund, so. And luckily, it seems like they got the refund, so. Everything worked out on that front, but, sadly, not everything worked out on the Garrett and Tony front. I thought it was kind of an interesting conversation that they had, because it's like, he's like, right, like, I know you and Armand have been feeding me false information. He's like, why are you working with him like a bad guy like Armand? She's like, it's not, you see things so black and white when there are shades of gray. He's like, no, it's pretty simple. It's pretty not that complicated. It's like, there's good and there is bad. And so, but I mean, the argument could be like, I think he doesn't recognize the levels of gray that he goes through, but I guess it's like, right, my shades of gray are still on the side of justice. I'm still blue to the evil red. I think that's kind of like maybe his argument. I'm still the protagonist in all of this. I'm still the good guy. I'm the hero, whereas Armand is a bad guy. Because he's throwing out Theo, the whole Theo situation is like, once again, But he doesn't know that. He's just still assuming that it was Armand. It's like, Armand's not the one who pulled the trigger on Theo. It was Hayek's son who did it. I'm assuming eventually Garrett's going to find that out. That might be, well, can't really do much with it now because I just like Hayek sent his son back home to like join the army, so can't really do anything about that, I don't think. So maybe that's why Tony's not saying anything, because it's like, well, I'm not trying to give you any, inch for you to take a mile, but also it's like, now that like his son's been removed from the equation, you can't really do anything anyway. So maybe that's Tony's justification. Tony's always held certain cards close just because she wants to play them when the opportunity best suits her, But I like Tony's justification because she's like, the fact of the matter is, this did start with helping my son because I'm willing to do whatever it takes, even working with someone who might be considered a bad guy, because it's like, right, because my son wasn't born in this country, he can never like have a chance. He doesn't have all the benefits, and he's like, oh, and Garrett's like, why? Because of my white privilege. He's like, the fact of the matter is, I came from like a crappy background. I came from a dad who like killed a store clerk trying to rob the place or something, and back then I made a choice. Either I made a choice to be a good guy. He was like, it's not that complicated. So it's like, don't assume my situation. He's like, yeah, I might be white in this country, doesn't change the fact is I went through some shit. I know that's a counter argument to the whole white privilege thing too. Like, I don't think it's simple all across the board. I still understand the thought process that even someone saying like, still having the process thought of, yeah, but even if you came from a background just by being white, there's certain elements of, if someone black was in that same regard, they still wouldn't get the opportunities you would. But I could also understand someone being like, yeah, but it's not like I had all the advantages. My life still sucked. I still went through some struggles too. Like, I think there is layered conversation to that. Maybe it's simply black and white for some people, but I think there can be a layered conversation about that. But I like to get him being like, Garrett being like, yeah, I didn't have the easiest time growing up. Like, I had my complications too, but I still ended up choosing the right side of things, Tony, and you are on the wrong side of this. But once again, trying to do things the right way, boom, look how it blew up in your face. To be fair, it's because you started by trying to do things the wrong way. Tony was so desperate to get home, but it ended up blowing up in their face because now Homeland Security got involved. Catherine can't do much because it's like, right, you try to illegally bring someone across the border, someone in Tony's situation. And because of that, your job is being threatened. Tony is now getting charged for all this crap. So, cool. Doesn't matter what she can provide. Not unless it's like some big time stuff that they would change their mind. They're making an example out of her, like, by doing this, informant or not. I guess because she's not probably like official on some paper, so it probably doesn't matter. Because they do have to keep paperwork for that stuff, I think. You're supposed to, so. But I think probably all that's being ignored right now. God, that actor who represents that Homeland Security, it's like that actor pops up at everything. Like, obviously, he was most recently in Mayor of Kingstown. Before that, I just saw him in this most recent season of Animal Kingdom. It's like, man. Regardless, it's definitely going to be interesting to see where all this goes, because Tony her situation went from bad to worse. It's like everything that could go wrong did go wrong and is going to continue down that route. The question is, like, once again, she's in this alone. Like, not unless Garrett can pull some miracle or something like that. Like, not unless she can get information to Garrett that kind of help mediate the situation, because Armand can't help her. So what is going to happen? Luckily, Dara and Luca got back to Fiona's, but it's like, yeah, he's asking where his mom is, so it's going to be interesting to see where the next episode ends up taking us going forward with this. I don't know if the next episode's the season finale. Let me check really quickly. So I just looked it up. It does seem like the next episode is the season finale. It did kind of feel like we were heading in that direction, so I'm very curious to ultimately see where all this ends up taking us going forward into the season finale, how they wrap the season up, how any of this gets resolved. I think Hayek's going to end up on the wrong side of things this episode, next episode. Like I said, either going to be dead, whether it's Armand using this to the advantage to take Hayek down while walking away with the 6 mil. We'll see how it all plays out, but I'm interested to find out. But really, that's all I'm going to talk about. Until the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.